Well, hello, everybody. Warm welcome to everybody who's tuning in and watching us. My name is Angela MacDonald, and I convene our MSc in Ancient Cultures. We've got a few students from Ancient Cultures here, and also my colleague Zara, who will introduce her program in a second. So first of all, should we just run round everybody and you can introduce yourself, say what your name is and what you have been studying either currently or in the past, and we'll go from there. So at the top of my screen is Emma, if we start with you.
Yes, hello. My name is Emma. I am currently a PhD student at the University of Glasgow studying archaeology. I was a graduate of the Ancient Cultures Master's Program in 2022, and I did my undergrad in medieval studies at the University of Ottawa.
Lovely. Okay, and then Mikel, you're next.
Hello, I'm Mikel from Mexico. I did my undergrad in history, and well, now I'm doing my master's at the University of Glasgow in classics, and well, let's see where it goes.
Good stuff. Excellent. And Zara, you're next on my screen.
Hi, my name is Zara. I'm the program convener for the Classics Ancient History MSc at Glasgow, and I'm also the PGT convener for the classics subject area as a whole. I'm a specialist in Latin literature, and particularly of the Augustan period.
Okay, Elise.
Hi, my name is Elise. I'm from California, back in the States. I'm doing my master's at Glasgow in Classics and Ancient History. I graduated with dual bachelors in Classics and History and a minor in Politics from UC Santa Cruz back in 2022. And now I'm here, and it's great.
Good stuff. Okay, and Christina.
I'm Christina. I am from the States. I lived in Washington State most recently. So that's West Coast, not DC. I have a bachelor's degree in visual journalism, and I studied sociology as well. And I am currently a PGT student in the Ancient Cultures program.
Excellent. Okay, so that's all of us. We thought we would start with just Zara and myself giving you a little idea of what our respective programs are about, and then we'll start chatting amongst ourselves, and hopefully you'll have some questions for us. So Zara, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I convene the MSc Classics and Ancient History. So for this, it's a core course in the first semester, which is to introduce you to researching in classics and ancient history, but at postgraduate level as opposed to an undergraduate level. So we train you in research skills and also in a variety of research methodologies and modern theoretical approaches to the ancient world that you can use to expand your own research and your exploration of the ancient evidence, whether you're looking at ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, wider around the Mediterranean, or ancient Italy as well. So this is a team-taught course. So you'll see whoever's convening the MSc in Classics and Ancient History, me at the moment, as part of that. But you also get the opportunity to meet the majority of our colleagues within the classic subject area as well. So we all have different research specialisms. We also all use different research methodologies as part of our independent work. And so the part of theories and methods is to give you an opportunity to test out different methodologies and see the ones that work best for your particular area of interest. And so you'll meet different colleagues to help introduce you to those. Our core course is also designed to help you prepare for the dissertation. So I've mentioned researching at the postgraduate level. We build into our core course research training. So you'll do things like project planning, writing a research proposal. Sometimes we teach book reviews. We also have training in graduate attributes, all to help you design a longer, more extended independent research project that you'll have the opportunity to work on a topic of your choice across the summer of your master's year, from semester 2 onwards, but really concentrated work over the summer. So in addition to our core course and obviously to your dissertation as well, you have the option of customizing our MSc program to tailor it to your particular research interests. So you'll have the opportunity to take 5 optional courses within classics and also within the university more broadly. So we have students taking classes from across arts and humanities, as well as the dedicated classics and ancient history courses that we offer in the subject area. So you really can choose what you want to study based on your own research interest and your own specialism. And you can take undergraduate courses as part of that, up to 30 credits. And you can take language courses as well. And we teach ancient hieroglyphics, ancient Greek, and Latin, all from total beginners. So if you've always wanted to try an ancient language, you have the opportunity to take that up as part of your MSc as well. If you already have a bit of experience in an ancient language, you can have the option to take courses at higher levels in those languages too. So that's the MSc in ancient Classics Ancient History.
And just to add what ancient cultures brings to the table. So we are very similar in the sense that we have a mix of core courses and optional courses, and then we build you towards your dissertation. And the idea is that even although the program is based in classics, we also have contributing subject streams from, let me see if I can get these all right, archaeology, theology, Egyptology, and Celtic civilization. So all of these streams flow into ancient cultures. Our core courses are team taught, just like the Classics and Ancient History core that Zara was talking about. So you meet a variety of people, not just from the classics department, but also from those contributing subject areas as well. And the other thing that we do is we introduce you to the primary sources really quite quickly. So we work very closely with the Hunterian Museum, and we send our students for handling sessions so that you actually hold the ancient world in your hands, little bit by little bit. We work with the coin collection in the Hunterian, which is amazing. And we'll talk to you about that a wee bit more because we have a volunteer project connected with that. We send you to special collections in the library so that you look at manuscripts and think about where our ancient texts have come from. So it's a real mix of kind of classroom sessions and this kind of hands-on learning where you actually kind of get up close and personal with the objects. As Zara said, you have the ability to tailor exactly what you would like to study to your own interests. So whether that might be theology, whether that might be Egyptology, whether that is going to be something archaeological, you would choose optional courses to sit alongside our core courses, and then you can design your dissertation where you will work closely with probably two people who can help you work through your topic and get to know it a little bit better. So I think that's the program, everything that I wanted to say about it just now. So we can perhaps turn it over to our panel of students. So we thought we would talk to you about all kinds of different things. So mainly maybe starting with what brought them to their specific program. So we can do this in alphabetical order, all things being equal. Christina, do you want to start? What brought you to your particular program? So your ancient cultures.
Well, I really was intrigued by how many different disciplines were going to participate in ancient cultures, which has been really great. I wanted to have a wider breadth of content to kind of explore. I really was excited about the handling sessions and being able to kind of explore the ancient world that way. I really liked how I kind of got to pick what part of the ancient world I wanted to really focus on, which is not necessarily available in a lot of other programs. So it was kind of just everything looked really great. And I just kind of was like, okay, that's the one. I actually didn't apply into anywhere else. I wanted this program specifically.
Great. Oh, that's lovely. And she's doing very well on it, just by the way, everybody. So who's next, if I can get alphabetical order correct? Elise, I think you come just before Emma, right?
Yeah. So like Christina, I also really liked the availability of subject matter in classics and ancient history. As I said, I did dual BAs in classics and history in my undergrad, and I really liked that I was kind of able to spread out and do and research in a little bit everywhere. Specifically, I did a lot of undergrad research in ancient Egypt, and I wanted to continue that in a master's. And the programs I looked at in the States primarily focused on Greek and Latin literature and language, which is fantastic, but not really what I wanted. And I wanted that ancient Egypt, focus point in my research, and Glasgow just was the best fit. And it's great. Working with Angela is great. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that. Emma, I think you're next.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely loved the diversity of options for study with the Ancient Cultures program. My background was medieval studies, so a little bit too recent for a lot of the stuff that's being taught in this program. However, I focused a lot on cross-cultural connections, so the Silk Road, spice routes. I really liked talking and studying about how people interacted, how cultures interacted. So I knew I wanted to do something involving Egypt. And when I saw this program allowed me to talk about Egypt or Greece or the Celtic tribes, it was perfect fit. I could do my cross-cultural connections with Egypt.
Good stuff. And Mikhail.
As I said, my undergrad was in history, and it relied heavily on theory of history and historiography. And when looking at different programs in the UK, the Uni of Glasgow standed out because of that. It allows you to be critical of how history is written or why history is this and not that. And I also very, very much like the people that are in this department. If you can take the chance, see the Google Glasgow Classics Department teachers or staff, and then you can do a bit more of research about them. But I like the topics that they were specializing in, and I also like the classes. I wanted to learn more about my beloved Rome. My Roman Empire is the Roman Empire, and well, I wanted to learn more about it, read the sources, something that I had never done before, and it has been a very funny and interesting experience, and I mean it in the good way, not in something funny.
That's great. I think I hope that we're getting across how nice and community focused we are. I think as a subject area in Glasgow. So this year particularly, we've had all kinds of interesting kind of extra projects. So Mikhail is broadcasting live from one of our little hubs within Classics. Do you want to say where you are, Mikhail?
Yes, this is the Classics department in the building has its own library. It's only for PhD students, postgraduate students, and as you can see, it's surrounded by books, as a library should, and they are all related to classics. We have from comedy from the Greeks to Cicero, and it's also a space where you interact with your equals and even professors. And you can stay here. There's a fridge, there's a coffee machine. So it's a place where even if you are not studying, you can be at ease here. And it has bring a lot of, I believe it has created a big sense of community among the individuals of this year. Besides, it also allows you to talk with professors, and the person that runs this library, Michelle, she's lovely. She always offers a hand. She's extremely kind. So another reason to come to Glasgow.
So I think mostly professors are coming into the library to pinch your chocolates and your home baking. So this group are great for producing very tasty snacks. So yeah, you've got to keep an eye on that stuff down there. I was going to say, I mean, there's lots for us to talk about. We talked a little bit about our specific interests academically. I wonder if you guys want to say something about some of the additional activities that you've been involved in this year. So for example, we have something called the New Library of Alexandria. Somebody wants to jump in about that?
Yeah, so I beginning of this year was really wanting to have more opportunities for creative learning and hands-on learning. And so I had mentioned it to Angela, it'd be nice to maybe start a group. And she said, if you want to start a creative projects colloquium, go ahead. Like, we absolutely would support that. And so I reached out to some other students in the program, and there was interest. So Elise is part of it. Mikkel's part of it. There's a bunch of us other people who aren't on this live stream who are part of it. And we all decided that we were going to come together and create different personal creative projects that were based in the ancient world. So for example, I wrote and designed a guidebook to Petra. Elise has this amazing project she's doing in Egypt. Mikkel has an amazing project. We have things from cross stitch to paintings to plays. It's just this wide swath of creativity. It was bigger than what I was picturing and more diverse than what I was picturing. And we're going to present our projects in June. And it's just been really cool seeing all the different creativity come through and just seeing how we can kind of tie the ancient world to the modern world. We can see all these different avenues for creativity. And it's been a really fun and exciting outlet that's different than just writing an essay. We've learned, I think, probably as much as we would have learned as I have if I had been writing an essay, maybe even more. But it was a lot more fun. So it's been really, really great. I don't know if Elise and Mikkel want to share what their projects are, but I think they're phenomenal.
Yeah. So my dissertation's on the city of Amarna, and as I was doing research for my dissertation, I came across the Great Temple to the Aten, which is a temple that has since been destroyed, or it's disassembled for the most part. And so I wanted to brush up on some skills that I had learned in undergrad, specifically 3D modeling. So I am doing a 3D digital reconstruction of the Great Temple to the Aten, hopefully to scale. I'm almost done. And with that, I'm also doing research and creating hypothetical reliefs that would have potentially been in the temple. As I said, it's been destroyed, so we have no way of knowing, but I'm approximating from, literary sources and, reliefs from other areas of Amarna, what would potentially be on the walls at the temple. And I've learned a lot. It's a very steep learning curve, but I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. And it's lovely because it folds a little bit into your dissertation as well. So it's a little bit creative and something on the side, and also hopefully something that feeds into the dissertation. And Mikkel is doing something very cool as well.
Well, attempting to do something. I'm learning how to develop a video game that depicts the life of a legionnaire in the Antonine Wall. If you don't know about the Antonine Wall, it's like the secret brother of Hadrian's Wall. It lasted. It had a short life, but it was cooler, or it was more interesting in certain aspects. And I'm trying to create a game about that. So the whole experience has been quite interesting and amazing, because I'm learning to write learning to write a script. Sorry, for the story. I'm learning to draw, learning to program. And this is also something that this opportunity has allowed us to take different classes. I took a class from archaeology called Archaeology, Games and Media, which is closely related to museum studies, but it also allowed me to understand more about what I wanted from my project. And another plus from doing all of this is the help that we have had from the department. Yesterday, jokes aside, Angela brought us one of the main curators of the Hunterian Museum, the museum of the university, and we had an hour and 30 minutes with him, and we made so many questions, and we learned so much, and we have learned plenty of things from different individuals, and it has been a very fulfilling experience, because you're doing your dissertation, the master's, and then you're doing a creative project. So it's a lot of responsibility, but also it gives you a lot of freedom and license to develop your learning as you want.
Yeah, no, I think we're particularly blessed at the University of Glasgow. We've got so many different subject areas. Students can interact with one another, but there are also all these members of staff who can come in and speak, particularly if we're thinking about creative projects or about what indeed you might do next. And I wanted to bring Emma in on that score, because she's a nice example of somebody who started with the MSc in Ancient Cultures and then has kind of transformed her research speciality and is now doing her PhD, as she said. So Emma, do you want to talk a little bit about that kind of journey from MSc into what you were going to do next?
Yeah, so yeah, I kind of switched disciplines a little bit from a classics-centered degree to archaeology. However, the topic of my research has actually kind of stayed the same. My dissertation when I was doing my master's was about blue glass and amber and the trade between Bronze Age cultures, specifically Egypt and Scandinavia, and then everything in between. And I have now moved on to focusing solely on amber in Egypt. It's a very brief way of putting it, but it has opened my eyes to something I never would have even considered. Whenever I bring up the topic, most people don't even think about amber in Egypt. But I found out during my master's, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was so interesting. And then I won't go into too much detail, but I found out that there are some artifacts actually nearby that relate or could relate to my topic. It made it even more appealing to come back to Glasgow because it makes my research just that much more easy. But yeah, as soon as I finished my dissertation, I realized I was not quite done with amber, and I was really excited to keep going forward on that path.
Yeah, and this is the opportunity that you have. I think you can either take something from your past and dive in and specialize a little bit more, or you discover something completely new that you didn't realize that you were going to be passionate about, and that can start you off on a whole new course. So we also try to give our students, so in addition to this wonderful new Library of Alexandria, which has sprung up this year, and I hope will be something that we keep going in one shape or form in the future, we also have volunteering opportunities. So again, we've got like a little kind of numismatics group. So I don't know if you guys want to say a little bit something about that.
Yeah, so it's really cool. The museum has this massive coin collection, really from like all over the world, all different eras. And I guess the unfortunate thing is that, well, the downside of having such a large collection is it has to be cataloged and it has to be put, digitalized, put on the website, and that's a lot of work. The plus side, though, is that means you need people to do that. And there's a handful of us who get to go and volunteer with these ancient coins. We're currently working through Greek coins. So we have these trays of them. We describe them, cross-reference them, weigh them, measure them, photograph them, and they go on the website for hopefully future researchers to use. But it means we get to hold and handle actual coins from ancient Greece. So we have some with Alexander the Great's face on them. We have some that have all these different symbols, and you have to kind of figure out, what does this mean? Is this? Is it that? We have some catalogs from like the 1800s, and you're going, is he right? Is he wrong? Has new research said, something different about this figure? And it's just a really cool project. I don't feel like we've made much of a dent so far because there's so many coins, but I've learned a lot doing it. I feel like I look at coins just completely differently than I did before, even modern coins. So it's been a really cool experience.
And again, that's feeding into your dissertation research, Christina, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a big influence my dissertation research. I'm going to be studying ancient Jewish coins and looking at the images on those kind of coins. And it was really great. As soon as I decided my dissertation topic and had it approved, I immediately reached out to the curator. I was like, can I look at the Jewish coins in the collection? He's like, absolutely. He had them pulled for me right away. I've spent, a couple mornings there the last couple weeks, and I just hang out in the numismatics library. He has all the books for me, all the coins for me. A lot of these coins have not been properly put in the system, so they haven't really been handled by a ton of people. So I feel really privileged to get to even look at them. I know I'm one of the few people in the modern era who have. And this is a really cool thing. And I hope that future researchers will take advantage of our work. It is a really amazing collection.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they will. So last year we started this numismatics volunteer group last year, and the group worked on Celtic coins, which are just wild things, just really beautiful, some of them. And now that collection is available to the public. So it's a real thing. It's not something that you're doing for practice. These are real records that you're creating that make a huge difference. So it's a wonderful thing to do. And then I wondered if Elise wanted to talk a little bit about the Muse project. So we've got our fingers in all sorts of different pies here. So Elise, do you want to talk about what Muse is?
Yeah, so Muse stands for Museum Student Educator. It's a volunteer program run through the Hunterian. In the fall, you have to apply to volunteer and go through an interview, just like any other job, to be selected. And what a Muse does is they lead public tours for free at the Hunterian or the Hunterian Art Gallery. And it's open to everyone. You do not have to be a graduate student. You don't have to be in classics. I know other muses who were studying biology or astrophysics or childhood education who all had a passion for history and wanted to share the museum with others. So specifically, I led the tour on the Antonine Wall, which is one of the museum's largest collections, and it's part of the permanent exhibit. And I learned a ton about the Antonine Wall. As I said, I'm from California, and in my undergrad, the Antonine Wall, I think, was mentioned like twice, so I didn't really know what it was. All I knew that it was Roman, and I didn't want to talk about, severed hands at the museum because we have a medical history exhibit. And it really just blew me away, the collection, the amount of research. And I really like public speaking. I was a former school teacher, so I wanted to continue the trend of teaching, which is why I volunteered. And it's been incredible. I've met so many amazing people, both through the museum and those who are visiting. And every time I gave a tour, I learned something new. And it was incredible. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
I took one of her tours and I learned a lot. She was a really great tour guide, but it was a really cool collection that I don't think I really appreciated how great it was, but it's really cool. I think I've taken that tour twice now, and each time I'm like, that's new.
Yes, it's really diverse. It started as William Hunter's collection, personal collection, and he obviously was a medical doctor. As Elise said, he has all kinds of medical specimens and whatnot, some of them very controversial. But he was also one of these polymaths, just interested in all sorts of different things. So coins, that's where our coin collection came from at its basis, and archaeology, some of a couple of really early figures I'm working on came through his collection. So all sorts. So it's an amazing thing to have a wander around that museum. I was also going to say, so something that I think possibly all three of you who are studying just now are on is Roman mobilities. Mikkel, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about Roman mobilities and what you guys are about to do.
Well, Roman Mobilities is a course that is taken with several other universities from Europe, Africa, and I think it's starting to add universities from America. This course is focused on Roman mobilities, and we're going to Romania. Actually, we're leaving on Sunday. We're going to be there a week, and we are doing some research about different aspects of mobility as in mobility of ideas, mobility of religion, mobility of individuals, and the different how people move for different circumstances. You might move because of leisure, or you might move because of need, or because you were banished, let's say. And this course also highlights another great aspect of doing a master's and of my experience in Uni of Glasgow, that you get to meet extremely interesting people and from so different places, not only in the masters that you're taking, like Elise, Christina. We're studying similar things, but yet we're interested in very different aspects, which enrich the conversation. And then you get to meet so many people from chemistry, biology, and Glasgow has other universities. It has the Royal Conservatory of Scotland, and well, I get now I'm buddies with a girl that she's learning how to be an orchestra director, which is, well, I never expected to find that out, and I have learned a lot about why music, what's the role of the director of an orchestra, and it's just a great experience. And well, let's see what happens in Romania. Going back on topic, sorry.
Yeah.
Um, it is a. I'm very excited in some ways. It's a learning curve, that's definitely because it feels there are some there are some downsides to it, but let's not get into that.
Well,
Wait, can I add on
Yeah.
to Miguel? So it's through QS. I don't think he said the name. But it's with the Junta Joint Universities, as you said. We meet for this semester. We met every week on Zoom, and each day was taught by a different professor from a different university. For us, it was Professor Matthew Fox, which was a great lecture. It was one of the first. And we've learned things, as Miguel said, about, exile in the Roman world, how dance shaped people, how language evolved over places. And then part of it, as Miguel said, we're going to Romania, and we're presenting a poster, actually. And so the three of us, anyways, are in a group on the imperial cult. So we're talking about how the imperial cult differed depending on where you were in the Roman Empire. And then there's other groups that are doing it on movement and dance. Someone else is doing it on politics. I think one group is doing it on literature. So it's really just a culmination of all these different ideas.
It sounds as if it's going to be an adventure. I was going to say as well that it takes you to the place where a very exciting coin hoard was found. I don't know if Jesper Eriksson, who's our curator of coins in the Hunterian, has talked to the numismatics group about Sponsian, this emperor who suddenly hoved into view through his coins. So you guys have to try and find the spot where his coin hoard was discovered. So Mikkel was talking about kind of like opportunities and meeting all sorts of different people across Glasgow. I wonder if we could maybe get each of you to talk a little bit about what it is like to be in Glasgow, because none of you have been home students here. You've all come from a different place to study in Glasgow. So can we start with Emma? What is your experience of being in Glasgow from just compared to where you came from, I guess?
Yeah, so I'm from Canada, and coming over, it was a little bit of a culture shock at first. All the cars are on different side of the road, and just kind of have to get used to how people talk. It takes a while to get used to some of the accents, especially in Glasgow. But I come from a relatively small town, and I went to school in Ottawa, which is the capital, so it was a bit bigger, and then I came here, and it's basically about the same size, I think, population-wise as Ottawa, so it was very easy to just kind of adapt. Everything is so close together. It is amazing. Yeah, I know a lot of people here might complain about public transit. Amazing compared to Canada. It is so good. You can go absolutely anywhere. There's a Tim Hortons down the street from me. That was probably the biggest culture shock. I had to do a double take when I got off the plane. But I really do like the city. It's you get the big city atmosphere, but it's not like Toronto or London. It's not overwhelming. And yeah, you meet so many people. During my master's, I met one student. She's actually doing another PhD or a PhD. She's back with me now. I met people. I was part of a couple clubs on campus. I stayed in touch with some people. Another girl is at Edinburgh doing a PhD. So when I came back, I already had a pre-made connections group. So it was a much easier second time, but it was very quick to adapt the first time. Just go out and talk to people on campus.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities for that. There's all sorts of clubs, as you mentioned. So we have a couple sort of based around classics. But yeah, you can do all sorts of things through the university. So highlights, challenges, you guys. Somebody has to mention the rain. Although it is, I have to say, gloriously sunny today in Glasgow, and has been for a while. We haven't seen. We're forgetting what rain feels like here.
Well, not me. And not to spoil the news, but there's a weather alert that rain is coming back, just
Yeah.
to to put a cloud in your sun. Like, uh, but if I may, some of the challenges. Well, for me, coming from a non-English speaking country to here, it was a bit of a cultural shock in many aspects. The language, the accent, the cars in the other side of the road, but also the size. In Mexico, everything is the Mexico City is huge. We're too many people there, and here you take a train, and in 30 minutes you can be in the middle of the wilderness, and you can go on a hike. Everything is closer than in other parts of the world, and that's something that I enjoy very much. And I used to be always very early for events here when I got, because in Mexico I was, oh, I need to leave 30 minutes before, but here I can leave 10 minutes before, and it's something that sounds very simple and unimportant, but it makes a difference, makes it more enjoyable. Uh, well, the rain is constant. I've never seen this amount of water. Not that it doesn't rain in Mexico; it just doesn't rain that much. Uh, but you get used to it, and it's not this torrential rain. You can survive with it. You can cope, and it brings its charm. It brings a lot of it brings personality to this place.
Yes, very damp personality sometimes, but it does make everything nice and green. I suppose we need the rain. What about Elise and Christina? Experiences of coming to Glasgow, how it compares to where you've been before?
Yeah, so as I said, I'm from California. I'm from NorCal near San Francisco, so I was more used to the cold and the rain than a lot of people assume. I'm used to. I really like it. I'm also very pale, so maybe that's why. Uh, I love living here. As I said, I'm from San Francisco, and after the 1905 earthquake, there's nothing earlier than 1905. So moving to a place with so much history baffles me. Like the university is 300 years older than my country, which is a bit mind-boggling and took some adjustment. I did what Emma said about public transportation. It's incredible. And I love the availability of clubs and sports on campus. I'm in a martial arts sports club, which has been really great. I'm able to, continue something that I did back home. So it keeps me connected while also helping me meet new people that I probably wouldn't have otherwise, which has been really great. And just the amount of, events that you can meet people at. Like two of my closest friends here in Glasgow are both Americans, funny enough, but they're both in STEM, and I would not have met them if not for those welcoming events at the beginning of the year.
That's good. Christina?
So as I mentioned in my introduction, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. If you're from North America, you know that is like rain, 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 and nothing else. And I thought before I arrived, because people would ask like, oh, if you're going to Scotland, that there's going to be a lot of rain. I was like, I lived in like the Seattle area. I'm fine. I have a raincoat. I'm fine. I have my winter raincoat and my summer raincoat. I'm ready. It's more rain than I was ready for. So like you really do have to be prepared for the rain. You need your waterproof clothing when you arrive. Don't do umbrellas. That's just a waste of time and money, I think, really. And then I think so like that was a real challenge. And that I take that from someone who is from the temperate rainforest. The other challenge, which I was kind of expecting, so I lived on the 48th parallel. I was like, I know what north is. Scotland is It's more north. And it gets really dark in the winter. I have one of those sun lamps that you kind of sit under to get like help with like this, winter blues. I call it a lizard lamp because you have to just sit under the lamp like a lizard. That really helps if you kind of are prepared for that. It makes a difference. But like Angela said, it stays green. You can go to the botanical gardens. It's beautiful. I like rain, so most of the time I'm fine with it. But you do kind of have to be ready for the weather. I think it is a bigger challenge than like you'll anticipate, but it's like a manageable one. And then when the sun comes out and it's springtime and I see all these tourists, I'm like, or future students, like, you're gonna come here. Like, it's beautiful. Look at the blue sky. Look at the beautiful green plants everywhere. Like, they've been watered, they're ready to grow. So it is. They're manageable challenges, I think, for sure. And it is beautiful. It's really nice, like Mikkel said, being able to get out into the countryside, be able to go to castles. Like Elise said, like it's just the history is phenomenal. So it is really a cool experience.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the rain and the need to bring raincoats rather than umbrellas. Mikkel, were you going to say something there?
Yes, when Christina mentioned that, well, there are some that you're going to face certain situations or problems. Well, not just weather ones, but social, personal ones. It happens to all of us. It doesn't. Maybe you have a great time in Glasgow, but still you're going to have bad days. And I can say for that the university and the classics department have been extremely helpful and understanding of very particular circumstances, and always ready to lend a hand and show kindness. And it's very much appreciated, and that does make a difference because you get to a new country, you are starting to know people, but you don't have that level of trust. The institutions, the institutions of the university are very good with handling problems and helping the students at that. And I would, it was something that surprised me for in a good way, and that I am very grateful for. So even if when you have bad days, you can count on the university, and hopefully also the friends that you're making here. But just to let you know that the uni has an excellent service to help students
Yeah,
and
no,
the classics department.
there are all kinds of mechanisms for support. Zara and I, part of our job is to be keeping an eye on our students to make sure that if there's an ambition that you want to realize, then we're putting things in place and sending opportunities your way. But also, if there are issues or problems that you're having, then to point you to the right person to start to solve those. If we can't do it ourselves. And I think that that Zara would agree with me that we are very fortunate to be in a very collegiate department. Everybody here is their doors are open. They're happy to hear from students and chat to people. You get to know some of us a little bit better once you get to the stage where you're doing dissertations and you're working with specific people. But you encounter all kinds of people on courses and things like that, and our doors are always open if you want to come and chat. So the other thing that I was going to ask all of you is if you have, apart from the advice about the raincoats and the umbrellas, if you had any advice to students who are thinking of coming, what do you wish that you'd known before you arrived? Is there any advice that you would give about preparing or how to get the best out of things? What do you think?
I think one of the things I realized really quickly is that a year is a really short amount of time. So you don't have time to wait until you feel ready. If you're one of those people who kind of likes to see how things are and then jump in, you don't have time. You kind of just have to like hit the ground running, jump in, even if you feel uncomfortable. And everyone knows it's short. So it means going and talking to people like staff. And if you have an idea, just go for it. If you want to join a group, just go for it. And I think having a kind of, I'm going to take this year and I'm going to go for it mindset really helps carry you through, because you just don't have time to wait around. You really just have to jump in. And even if you don't feel 100% ready to jump yet. And I think that's been made my experience really positive, having that attitude. Now that the year is almost over, I look back at all the opportunities I've had, and I'm really grateful for them. And I don't think I would have had them if I had been waiting, which is kind of my natural inclination, is to wait to see how things are and then go for it.
Yeah, the year is very short. Any other thoughts on that? Advice for future students, Elise?
Yeah, so as it is a year, and because we were here for a master's, that's a short amount of time to do all these classes and then your dissertation. Like, it's totally manageable, but it's very easy to get kind of like overwhelmed and like stick your head in the studies and kind of like ignore everything else about Glasgow. So it's important to have some kind of balance, because yes, your studies are important. Yes, your dissertation is long, but there is way more to studying at Glasgow than just, reading a bunch of books. Like, the campus is beautiful, the Hunterian's amazing. All the museums in Glasgow, I think for the most part, are free. We're a stone's throw from things like Stirling Castle and the Antonine Wall and all these other great places. Botanical gardens in Glasgow is beautiful. The people are really, really nice in Glasgow. So, just get out of the library and do something else. I think it's good for your mental health and will make you a better researcher down the line because you can compartmentalize everything.
Absolutely, that's really nice advice. I think that we're a kind of game of two halves, aren't we? So you've got all your classes quite intensively in the first half of the year, and then the second chunk is your dissertation, where you could, in theory, be quite solitary and not have a lot of interaction. But we've got our little kind of community that has formed through the library. And people kind of interact with each other. But yeah, there's a whole world out there. So it's about finding a balance is a really nice is a really nice piece of advice, I think. Mikhail, anything to add to that?
Yes, it's a bit on the same lines that the speed on how things develop is extremely fast. That caught me off guard in the first semester. You start with classes and then you're already delivering. You have to think about the dissertation, and that's something that I have enjoyed learning. The difference between an undergrad and a master's, I think it's the amount of responsibility that you're given, but that responsibility comes with so many benefits. And well, you're for me, my experience has been living alone for the first time. So, oh no, the cooking, the washing the clothes, the regular stuff for other people, not in my case. And then all this academic stuff, which can feel overwhelming at times, but it's also a great learning experience of everything. And the people that you know, how then you are like suffering because you didn't write the time, you didn't pace yourself properly, and it's like, my mom was right. I need to listen more. And so the old sayings, you become wiser. I think it's a great,
Well,
not just to learn more about Rome, but how to be alive and how to be a young adult.
sure, that's a really nice way to see it. I wonder if Emma has any parting words of wisdom about that for us, because you've been through the complete journey. So you've been an undergraduate, you've been on a 1-year master's, and now you're doing your PhD. So how do you reflect on all of this? What advice would you impart to people coming up?
I would say a lot of it is like what Christina says, like jump on it when you have the chance. Like once you finish your master's, if you want anything else to happen, it's all on you. Like you have to look for PhD programs, you have to reach out to potential supervisors, you have to write the proposal, you pick the project, and then the PhD is, you have your supervisors, but it's an independent research degree. There are no classes. It's on you. So take the chances that you get and don't limit yourself. Like if there's something that you want to try, see if it's an option. I'm getting trained in X-ray and infrared spectroscopy technology, and yet I have done science since I was 17. So it's something that I think would be beneficial to my project. And you just have to ask those questions, find those opportunities yourself, because once you get to this stage in research, it's a lot more on you than it is on the professors that are leading a class.
Yeah. So, and this is something that Zara does in her capacity as our PG coordinator, sort of guide people through the different stages. So we will talk to you about where you could go next, for example, right, Zara?
Yes, that's certainly correct. You have the opportunity to come and speak to me as PG coordinator at any point of the academic year about what you want to do next, whether that's within academia, if it's moving on to a PhD, if it's another master's, if it's exploring opportunities at other universities, or looking into professional qualifications, etc. So that's part of what we aim to do, and we also, certainly for the MSc Classics Ancient History, build in again to our core course provision and graduate attributes training. So you'll speak to people from across the university who have experience in helping you develop on the professional side of things and help to think about careers beyond academia and where you can take your masters if you don't want to continue in universities, or even if you prefer to move beyond things like heritage and museum work and information studies, to think a bit more broadly about where you can take a classics and ancient history postgraduate qualification.
So I think we're probably ready to draw to a close. I want to thank everybody who participated in our panel today. Thank you for sharing your experiences and giving your advice and talking a little bit about what it's like to be on the ground. Because it's one thing to look at a program on a computer screen, and it's another to experience it and to think about what you can make of it. So. Thank you to everybody who watched us today as well. And if you have any questions about the MSc in Classics and Ancient History or the MSc in Ancient Cultures, Zara and myself are delighted to hear from you. Our contact details are up on our program websites. And we really hope that we have persuaded you to come and join our little community here of multicultural researchers bringing all this life into the ancient world as we study it. So so thank you everybody, and yeah, we'd be delighted to hear from you if you have any lingering questions. Okay, great. Okay, well, thank you very much everybody.